Hello and welcome to another lesson. My name is Mr. Luther. In case you don't know me or in case you forgot all about me, I'm a prevention specialist at Chestnut Health. And today we're going to take in a lesson from our Too Good for Drugs curriculum, this one on addiction and resiliency. This might be a review for some people or it might be a brand new lesson for everybody. So when we talk about addiction, first thing I always ask is we have to talk about what a habit is. So what is a habit? Well, a habit is something you do without even thinking about it. For example, some people will say like or when they're talking. They don't mean to, it just comes out automatically. Another example is playing video games. I know a lot of people that are listening right now, they play video games. Think about it this way. Whenever you're playing a video game, do you ever have to look down at your controller? Do you ever have to go, okay, I don't know where the triangle button is. I don't know where the X button is. No, of course not. You've played it so long, it's a habit for you. You don't have to look down. You're just used to it. It's something you do without even thinking about it. So if I told you though, if I said, from now on, you can never say again, would it be difficult to stop? For some people, it might be. It might be very difficult for some people. Others might be fairly easy, but it's not going to be impossible, right? It would just take time. And that's where drug use comes in, all right? Because of course we're going to be talking about drug use. Drug use can be habitual and addictive, which makes it harder to stop. So when we talk about being addicted, what does that mean? Well, a person is addicted when they are dependent on a substance. So that means physiologically you can be addicted, which means your body is so used to the drug, your body feels like it needs the drug. Or you can be psychologically addicted, which means in your mind you believe you need the drug. You're what they say, it's hooked on a feeling, right? All right, now we're going to talk about the stages of addiction, right? Because addiction develops in stages. Oftentimes, people are unaware of how far along they are in the stages. So that's what we're going to go over today. So we start with stage one, of course, and that is what's known as experimental use. Stage one, experimental use, that is your first time use, right? Usually this is done at a social gathering, a social setting, a party of some sort, right? The person who tries it for the first time, the reason they do it, they might be curious about it. They might be pressured into it, right? They might think it's harmless, right? They might think everybody's doing it. Or they might even just try it on an impulse, which means they act first and think about it later, right? So that's stage one use. That's experimental use, your first time use. And then, of course, we have going on to stage two, which is pattern use, right? In this stage, you're not going out and seeking it, you're not buying it, right? But if it's offered to you, you will try it. Another thing that happens during this stage is there's no withdrawal symptoms, which we're going to talk about withdrawal symptoms in another stage. But at this point in time, there's no withdrawal symptoms, but you are developing a tolerance. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by developing a tolerance? Well, it means you need more and more of the drug just to get the same effect as the first time. For example, let's say somebody tries a Juul or a vape or an e-cigarette, and they take one hit off of it and they feel the effects, right? Well, in stage two, pattern use, that one hit doesn't do it for them anymore, right? They might need two or three or four, right? They need more and more of the drug just to get the same effect as the first time. So then, of course, we move on to stage three, which is known as problem use. Now, remember in stage two where I said that you don't go out and seek it, you don't go out and buy it, right? Well, that's different in stage three because in stage three, you are. You're going out and buying it, you're going out and seeking the drug, right? You're planning on when and where you can use it. I always give the example of, let's say after school, you and your friends used to play basketball, right? Or play video games or football or anything like that, right? You don't want to do that anymore, right? Instead, you want to find a place where you can use, right? And not only that, you're not going to be hanging out with those friends anymore unless they're also using, right? Oftentimes, users will hang out with other users. And of course, that means you're losing interest in grades, right? Not only grades, but you're not really interested in sports anymore or really any extracurricular activities you had. And then finally, we go to stage 4, addiction, right? This is the last stage, right? This is the stage where the drive to find and to use the drug is the number one focus, right? That's the only thing you're thinking about in your head, right? Cravings are extremely strong, right? A lot of times, people who are in this stage talk about getting their fix, which means that the withdrawal symptoms are so bad that, and the cravings are so strong that they're using just to get by, just so their body feels somewhat normal. And of course, a lot of people on the stage turn to risky behaviors, right? Are you going to steal to get the drug? Probably. Are you going to lie to get it? You can, right? You're going to turn to a lot of risky behaviors, right? Because the only thing you're thinking about, once again, the only thing you're thinking about is the drug, and that's it. All right, so let's do a little bit of review here, all right? So, in what stage does the user begin to develop a tolerance? Think about it. Is it stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4? Give you a little hint. It is not stage 1 because when you're first starting out, right? And it's before you get withdrawal symptoms. So if you answered stage 2 pattern use, you are correct. All right. Next one. At what stage is the user most likely hanging out with other users? Remember, I told you at some point in time, your old friends, you're going to leave them, right? The ones that you used to play the video games with and the basketball with, and you're going to go towards other people who use, right? So what stage is that? Normally that happens in stage 3, problem use. All right. All right, and now we're going to be talking about resiliency. All right. What is resiliency? Well, resiliency is the ability to overcome a difficult situation. Right. Now, I have good news for you because we talked about addiction and the horrible stages of addiction, but many teenagers decide not to start using drugs. Right. Now, all teenagers they have a lot of pressure in their life, right? And if you're listening to this, you can understand this, right? But instead of using drugs to deal with that pressure, which we're going to talk about the pressure here in a little bit, they choose healthy alternatives to deal with that pressure. Okay? So, what are some of the pressures a teenager might face? Well, some of them could be they want to fit in, they want to relax, they want to belong, they want to feel older. Some of you might self medicate. Okay? So, what if a teenager wants to feel older? What can they do instead of using a drug? Instead of saying, I see, older adults doing this, so I'm going to do this because I want to feel older. What can they do? Well, a couple things is, especially right now, take on more household responsibility, right? Maybe you can ask mom, dad, whoever, and say, what else can I do around the house, right? That could be a way to feel older. Start making future plans. That's another way to feel older, right? What are you going to do in high school? What are you going to do after high school, right? What are your plans for the future? Start making future plans. Those are good ways to feel older without using drugs. And then, of course, to relax. I know a lot of teenagers uh, got a lot of stress and they need to relax, right? Instead of saying, I'm going to use a drug to relax, what can you do? Listen to music. I know a lot of people listen to music to relax, right? Listening to music helps them fall asleep, right? Just helps them put in a good mood, helps you to relax. And then meditate, right? Some people meditate to help them relax. And if you're not sure how to meditate, I'm telling you right now, there's tons of videos on YouTube, right? That'll help you with it. It just helps a very natural way to help you relax. Some people might even write in a journal, right? Get all their thoughts down, right? Or, of course, if you have a good friend, talk with them, right? If you have a friend that listens to you, right, actively listens to you, talk with them about it. All right, so that is addiction, that is resiliency, talking about a couple ways to deal with pressure healthy ways to deal with pressure, right? So this is, of course, the sixth grade quiz, right? Questions here are, how many stages of addiction are there? Feel free to write these down. At what stage does a user begin to develop a tolerance? I give you two choices. Is it stage 2 or is it stage 4? True or false? All teenagers choose to use drugs. And true or false? Listening to music is a healthy alternative to drugs for when you want to relax. All right. So then, if you are in seventh grade, you're not going to take that quiz. You're going to say, hey, I want the seventh grade quiz, which is choose two questions. One, give me an example of a habit, right? And then true or false, many teenagers find healthy alternatives to relieve pressure. Right? And then, of course, last, certainly not least, the eighth grade quiz. I want you to summarize in 2 or 3 sentences what you learned about addiction. And then summarize in 2 or 3 sentences what you learned about healthy alternatives. All right, hopefully everybody learned something today. That is the end of this lesson, and hopefully I will be seeing some of you guys soon. Thank you.